Welcome.
Thank you, Agapiti. Good afternoon, everyone. I am standing in for Aisha Kasali, who is the real mentor for Dr. Elsa. She is with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, so shout out to her. My own background with Dr. Elsa started in 2018 when they were an applicant for the 4th window of the DLI Innovation Challenge. As a grantee, they were immediately recognized as a high performer and clearly a potential success. After their work with the DLI program, Dr. Elsa was invited to present its solution at the MCC PEPFAR Partnerships DataRev conference in Washington, DC in November of 2019. And at that point was awarded one of 3 scale-up grants out of more than 50 of the DLI projects that were brought forward. Dr. Elsa is a health assistant tool. It uses machine learning and expert knowledge to assess symptoms and provide expert decision support. I have to say that this to me seems like an idea whose time has come, and I've been very keen to follow the progress now of Dr. Elsa. For me, this product hits kind of a double benefit, both having a viable business model, but also a public good aspect, including working with HIV patients who may be lost or delayed to receiving life-saving HIV treatments. And we certainly respect that. So without going further, I want to turn this over to Ally Salim and Megan Allen, who are the founders of Inspired Ideas and who bring you Dr. Elsa.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. My name is Ally Salim, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Inspired Ideas, the company behind Dr. Elsa, also known as Elsa Health. I'm here with my co-founder and literally the reason for my sanity as an entrepreneur, Megan Allen. All right. At Elsa, we're in the business of improving health outcomes by leveraging digital tools and emerging technologies to support and optimize health decisions. Last year, my aunt gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, and unfortunately, throughout her many hospital visits, the doctors misdiagnosed a simple case of pneumonia that she had, and she passed away shortly into labor due to complications of the pneumonia. Now, fast forward to a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago actually, and my own little sister was going through labor, and I was freaking out, demanding the doctors do every test and every investigation under the moon so that nothing is missed. And I don't think I'm allowed back there anymore. But this is because the statistics are actually scary. In Tanzania, a study by the World Bank shows that 4 out of every 10 patients are misdiagnosed at the point of at the primary care level. And this problem is caused by the high number of unskilled healthcare providers and the fact that providers at lower level facilities lack resources that can be used for diagnosing and supporting their patients. This results in higher rates of misdiagnosis, which leads to poor health outcomes, high misuse of medication, and a breakdown in trust of health institutions. So our solution is to support the decision-making process of healthcare providers across all levels. And we do this by building AI-powered clinical decision support algorithms that are high-performant, explainable, bespoke, and contextually relevant. It also works by providing insights from data-driven algorithms to support patient care. First, a patient comes into a clinic with some symptoms. In this case, it's fever, cough, and shortness of breathing, shortness of breath. And healthcare providers input these symptoms into Elsa. In the background, Elsa runs through a causal disease model using those inputs and generates the likelihood of a patient having a certain condition. The healthcare providers, aided by Elsa's algorithms, ask the patient more questions in order to make a final decision. In this case, we're trying to see if the patient is a smoker or if they recently traveled to DrElsa, a region with a different epidemiology. The provider indicates a response from the patient and the models get updated. This process of revealing knowledge goes on and on and on. It's almost as if there were 2 healthcare providers in the same room checking each other's work. Finally, Elsa displays insights of the most likely cause of illness and next steps. In this case, the patient is likely to have pneumonia and not cryptococcal meningitis, and the provider knows exactly how to handle that patient based on national guidelines. We offer the potential to bridge the gap in access to quality healthcare services. A big reason for why we must intervene right now is that Tanzania is not meeting national and international health goals. As a result of this, 600,000 children under the age of 5 will die this year alone from preventable causes such as malaria and pneumonia if we don't intervene right now.
The global market for AI for healthcare tools is expected to reach $45 billion by 2026, increasing at about 40% per year. We are able to address the problem of misdiagnoses and support health outcomes in the 45 million patient visits that happen across the 10,000 health facilities in Tanzania each year. Compared to our competitors, we are more contextually relevant for the East African marketplace because we have built, tested, and validated our tools using context-specific data and experts. In addition, Elsa is built in both English and Swahili, and it is more robust and more adaptable than national paper guidelines published to support healthcare providers. Our team is passionate about using technology for social good, and they look good as well. We bring expertise in artificial intelligence and machine learning, software development, and public health research. One of our mentors, Dr. Wycliffe Sango, is a district HIV and AIDS coordinator and is guiding the deployment of our HIV-specific tools across northern Tanzania. We have deployed with 56 healthcare providers across multiple types of facilities. With our current deployments, we're on track to supporting 10,000 clinical decisions per month. We are currently running 3 national studies to evaluate the performance and feasibility of Elsa. We have strong partnerships with the district in northern Tanzania, the Pharmacy Council, and Ifakara Health Institute. We've been supported and mentored by dLab Tanzania and have received funding from MCC PEPFAR, UNICEF, and Foundation Partner. Elsa's algorithms are available as intelligence as a service to health facilities, non-governmental organizations, and governments, as well as health technology companies who want to leverage decision support in their solutions. Typically, this happens through subscription service. We also build custom tools for impact or development partners who are interested in scaling Elsa's technology in their programs or their health facilities. This includes customers like PEPFAR, UNICEF, EggPuff, and USAID. So far, we've received developmental grant funding to support our research and development to date. In Q2 of this year, so right now, we are scaling our intelligence as a service offerings and working on larger contracts with impact partners and the government. In early 2022, we expect to finalize a contract extension on our work with UNICEF Tanzania for an additional 2 years. We are currently raising $350,000 to fund our upcoming objectives, which are to support the decisions for 500,000 patients, extend Elsa to cover 500 diseases, roll out nationally with the Tanzanian government, and improve our offerings for intelligence as a service. To reach our impact goals, we are also seeking a meeting with the Chief Innovation Officer at USAID. So if anyone has a connection, we would love to take you up on that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan and Ali, for your wonderful presentation. And I'd like to introduce. Welcome.
Okay, I'll kick off. Wanika, you can go.
Okay, go ahead. I'll follow.
Okay. It looks very much like this is a solution for Tanzania. And I'm sure you get a lot of thought about expanding across borders. How are you planning on scaling, and how do you think you're going to get across into other countries in Africa? And a great presentation, by the way. Great to see you taking all the learnings and you put it together very well. and great timing as well. Just the question about scale, how are you going to get across, you know, from borders beyond Tanzania?
Yes, so we are very much keen on scaling beyond Tanzania. One of the things we're trying to consider as we try to scale beyond Tanzania is the type of credibility that we have. And thanks to support from dLab, we've been able to get a few things moving with larger contracts. So we are hoping to leverage the networks of these larger organizations to pivot with them across the other countries that they work in, as well as have that type of track record when talking to the Kenyan government that we've been able to successfully deploy this with the Tanzanian government. But yes, that is in the works. We are trying to figure out where it fits in with other timelines. Megan?
I think I would just add that, of course, as we're focused heavily on making sure that our tools are contextually relevant, that is one of the strongest value adds we feel like we bring. We want to make sure that as we're going into those places, we do have access to either data or experts or some sort of information we can use to help kind of update our models, and they've been created in a way where we can overlay that regional contextuality to be able to improve the performance in those places. And that's something we can get from the governments and the other nonprofit organizations or organizations that we might work with.
Right. Okay, great, thanks. Take over Africa first, and then we'll conquer the rest of the world.
That's what we're hoping for.
I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind. On the revenue that you have had today, you mentioned that you have already generated some revenue, but do I understand correctly that's primarily from grants? And if so, when do you expect kind of commercial revenue to come through, and what would be sort of the 18 months to 2 years down the line, what would be the split of kind of NGOs and DFI revenue versus commercial revenue?
Yeah, good question. So of course, almost all of this has been revenue from grants up until now. We are expecting that by next quarter, we will have commercial revenue from our intelligence as a service, particularly to telemedicine companies and electronic health records companies are the first two we're kind of focused on. And then with our larger contracts to development partners, the ones we're expecting to come in the soonest will be the early part of next year. And so that's kind of why we have the significant increase in our revenue starting in 2022. And looking out 18 to 24 months, we've projected that our revenue, probably 60% of our revenue will come from those partners as contracts to be able to deploy Elsa across countries or across regions. And then the other 40% will likely come from intelligence as a service offerings. Anything else?
Thank you. And then a follow-on question, twofold. One is, are you being regulated at all in Tanzania? As a first question.
Yes, we are being regulated in a very indirect kind of way. So there is no like Data Protection Act or Patient Act or anything around health technologies. So we are currently still trying to discuss with the what are they called, the Ministry of Health, as well as hardware device, medical devices organization. But none of them recognize us as hardware devices. So currently we are indirectly regulated by the Communications Authority. But who knows after a few years what the laws will be like.
Mm-hmm. And then since you have this health intelligence as service, what sort of liability do you have, and how do you manage that by obviously providing suggestions and recommendations to doctors?
So currently we have built out, that's a good question, and one that the short answer is we're still trying to figure that out. But here is our hypothesis and how we're dealing with it right now. It's that we don't make final decisions anywhere we're deployed. In fact, the way the tool is developed is to make it difficult for the healthcare worker to just take the decision in the tool and use it by default. It has to be a give and take where you're interacting with the models as though they are a calculator, so that you make the final decision yourself based off of the inputs that you put in. So that's how we're trying to deal with it right now. Liability lies with the trained healthcare worker.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, to me, I think just first of all, Megan and Ali, congrats, you've come so far just to reach this far. It's happy to see that now you have figured out a business model after all those years. Just one question, I think my colleague, she has asked about how you are handling legal and regulatory issues. My issue will be around data. Where do you access the data right now? Especially for like rapid prototyping and piloting and testing these early stages of development before deploying into external clients.
Jumana, just to clarify, the question is where we're getting the data from right now, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. So currently we're collecting data from some of our partners, such as UNICEF, as well as the partners on the ground, which are the facilities we have signed contracts with. But we try not to keep the data lives in their facilities. And once we train our models, in addition to expert knowledge, which we rely on more than the data itself, we leave the data with the facilities who have the rights to the data.
Thank you, appreciate it.
But Jumane, I also understand this is an area where you have a lot of experience, and we will be more than happy to take some of the advice around data. And yeah.
No problem, you know where to get me.
Thank you.
Right, thanks. I think that's the